Good evening, good evening, good evening. So I'm coming on late, man. I'm still a little woozy from the medication. Got a little bit of double vision going, but I should be able to work my way through this. But I wanted to come on, man, because I'm not even sure if tomorrow there's going to be a live show. I'm on some medication that's really setting me back. So tomorrow, when I do get up, whatever time that'll be, I'm going to go to the pharmacy, man, and see if I can get an alternative to what I got because something's not mixing well with a medication that I'm taking. It's new. Um, it's supposed to be for nerves, and it's doing a lot more than nerves. So I got to get off that and get on something else. But anyway, hashtag team no sleep. I know it's not that late, but it's late enough. And I'm only going to be on anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. I don't expect any of the guys because I'm just doing this impromptu. But if somebody hits me up and they want to come on, no problem. But I don't want to be on no more than an hour, man. I gotta go lay back down. But whew, like I said, I got a little bit of double vision, so excuse me. All right. So what I wanted to talk about in this video, man, is a couple things. All right. I want to start with this because I'm going to clip this into some shorts and I'm going to clip this into a long form after this live stream is over. But I wanted to get to non-compliance, all right? And I wanted to finish it up talking about how veterans lose their 100% rating, how they lose their 70% rating, so on and so forth. So if you watched the video that I did about non-compliance, I went over the 38 CFR. I talked about how you don't want to be titled as non-compliant in your medical records, right? You don't want that title because that title opens the door to many more problems. This is how veterans end up losing their 100% rating, their 70% rating, 50% rating. Not taking the meds, not going to their appointments, not answering the phone, not answering emails, following nothing. So when the VA sees this enough times, they go in your file and they figure you must be fine. You're not taking medication. You're not seeing your psych doctor. You're not seeing your medical doctor. You're not doing anything. You're just out spending money because they keep track. This is something else I'm going to roll into, but just let me finish this part. They keep track of a lot more than veterans think. They do. They see what you spend. You think they're going to give you thousands of dollars and not check to see what you're spending that money on? That's not how it works. Some of y'all think, oh, we've got our own lie, our privacy, this, that, and that. No, not when you're getting money from the federal government. No, not when it's taxpayers' dollars that you're receiving. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Let me roll into talking about uh, how they catch some of these veterans that are committing fraud. Now, the Inspector General's office is not a huge office. The OG Inspector General's office hotline that takes these calls, they get calls all the time. They do. But they only really investigate the ones that are credible, that may have a video or may have a link to a video where they can actually see the whistleblower who's calling it in. And most of the time, ladies and gentlemen, is somebody that you know that's calling it in. Could be a family member, could be a neighbor, right? That's why you never tell people, unless it's somebody you truly trust, anything about your disability, your service connection, what you're getting. Because again, people love to talk. They can't keep things to themselves. Sometimes it's better for you to shut what they call the fuck up instead of telling everybody your business. Okay? Now, the Washington Post story, I had a chance to really sit down, read it, evaluate it, go over it. And it's some things in there that are old tricks. They're not new. They've been around for a long time. I knew about them when I was at the VA for the 2 years I was there. And It's funny how those old tricks still work today. And I'm gonna give you one, and they talked about it in the Washington Post. Okay, veterans who fake blindness. Let me see who we got here. Mr. Lawson, what's going on? Yeah, man, I gotta do something tomorrow with these meds. Saludos, OT, T Mix, get some Ambien. Why you in bed already? Yeah. Okay, so this is an old trick that the VA uses. Pretty much all police, FBI, everybody kind of uses this, right? It is very elementary. So how do they catch a lot of these veterans, especially in this piece? So they'll go to a state, which in this case, they went to the state of Florida. They had a bunch of veterans that said that they were blind because you can't read somebody's mind. You can't tell. Like they try to do these different tricks to see if these people are faking, but really with the VA, a lot of it, especially if you are older vet, they're going to give you grace. And they're going to say, it's hard to believe this 69-year-old, 71-year-old man is lying, or this 59, 65-year-old woman is lying about her sight. Okay. So how do they catch them? What do they do? They'll take the list of veterans that are supposedly blind. They'll cross-reference that with DMV and see if they renewed their driver's license so they can continue to drive. And probably more than half of them renew their driver's license. So they already know they lying because they can see the vision test they got to take. Some of them are 20/40, some of them are 27 with the corrective lenses on. So that's when they set up to watch them. Now, in the newer neighborhoods, they don't have power lines like they have in the older neighborhoods. So if you're in a newer neighborhood, they have other ways to watch you. Usually it's with drones. They'll set up a hidden camera somewhere in the neighborhood, jungle gym, anything that faces the veteran's home where they can see them come in and out of that door. And they'll have surveillance going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they'll sit there and watch that veteran. They'll go back and they'll watch that footage, okay? But in the older neighborhoods, they'll come out like they're doing something to the power line. They'll go up that power line and they'll put a hidden camera up there, just pointed right at that veteran's front door, just to see the activity they're doing in and out of that house. That's how they catch a lot of them. They even have undercover agents. When the vet claims that they can't walk and do this and that, they'll have them purposely drive up in a car and ask for they're all on camera, ask for directions. And they'll sit there and tell them all this, that, and other. Meanwhile, they told the VA they can't walk. They can't move. So I'm going to play a couple videos off the Washington Post. I'm going to bring some of that stuff back up because there are some veterans out there that are still in denial based upon who's in office. And this is not to turn this into a political thing where they're trying to defend the indefensible. They'll say something totally ridiculous like, well, they only charge veterans who take at least $1 million. That's not true. They don't really charge them. They give them all house arrest. That's not true. Now, one of the things that is true is that legally, by law, if you have a service-connected disability, regardless if you've been charged with fraud, they still have to pay you legally for that service-connected disability. So let's say, for example, you're 100% and you obtain, you're basically 50, but you obtain the other 50 through illegal means, okay? They can take that other 50 away and you'll still have your original 50. They still got to pay you that original 50 by law, even if your ass in prison. After you get out, they still got to pay you that 50 by law. Now they're going to eat most of it up to pay back what was stolen, but you still get paid. They still get paid. So know that, okay? So this first video I'm going to play, y'all pay close attention now. Because I'm gonna be honest, next year, veterans fraud is gonna be a hot topic. You heard it here first. they're going to push a narrative that most disabled veterans out there are committing fraud, embellishing, lying about their disability. And what's going to be crazy, they're going to use TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube in regular commercials to show you how often these veterans are out there telling the VA one thing while they're doing something completely different. You watch and see what I tell you. All right, so I'm gonna bring up this first video, and you guys pay attention to this.
From 2019 to 2021, Army veteran William Rich rolled into VA medical appointments in a wheelchair. But on social media, Rich was lifting weights and dancing in his home gym. In a recorded call with VA, Rich said he had been in a wheelchair since 2005.
I've been receiving permanent disability since I've been in a wheelchair since 2005. And my status is permanent, not temporary.
Can you walk at all, sir, or carry anything?
Carry?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean carry?
As in carry something up a flight of stairs or
No.
walk for a limited time?
No.
Okay.
Surveillance told a different story. Rich lifting bags, pushing his wheelchair, and walking as he left the clinic. He was also captured on video walking through the mall, Sam's Club, and restaurants. A jury convicted Rich of fraud and theft. A judge sentenced him to 1 year of home confinement.
Okay, now in his particular case, this is what I was just talking about. He's still getting paid even though he's on that 1 year confinement, and he has to pay back all the extra because he was on SMCO, right? He was getting roughly a little more than $8,000 a month. Plus, he was doing the same thing with Social Security, and he has to pay that back as well. Okay, so they have ways, and if you notice, they got film from Costco, restaurants, any and every, because they were being followed. Any and everywhere you go, there's somebody out there watching. Sometimes they'll walk up to you and talk to you. They got some of them where they got a hidden camera. They sitting there talking to them, telling them, "Oh, I'm a veteran. I saw you got a veteran's plate." They just casual conversation. Oh, they sitting there just spilling everything, right? So, okay, so I'm gonna show you guys another one, and then I'm gonna go to the Washington Post and play some clips because I'm telling y'all, this is going to be a narrative going into 2026 about veterans, not so much about servicemen and women, but about veterans. Okay. And they're going to get the public to turn. Right now, the public giving us the benefit of the doubt. If enough of these stories and articles come out, what happens? Public sentiment starts to turn. And they got enough of these cases, they can make public sentiment turn. All right, so here, let's go with the next one.
Video shows Navy veteran Barry Hoover in a VA waiting room. He claimed to have total and permanent vision loss and said he was unable to drive, work, or perform basic tasks. But surveillance videos and social media posts tell another story. They show Hoover shopping and enjoying various recreational activities. Here's a video of Hoover snorkeling. Here he is cutting down a tree. A jury convicted Hoover of stealing government funds and making false statements. A judge sentenced him to 27 months in prison.
This is real, ladies and gentlemen. This is real. If they get a tip, it's a credible tip. They're going to investigate. It may be 3 years, 5 years, 7 years of watching, just building evidence to have an airtight case against the veteran. But they're going to watch. There's some where they got the veteran go to the VA in a wheelchair. As soon as he leaves the VA, goes across the street, ain't even out of the VA site yet. They got cameras pointed in that direction. See the veteran get out the car, walk right in the gas station like normal, pump his gas, and go home. It's crazy, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want people out there to think that they gotta do extra, right? Because everybody has good days and bad days. Some days I have really good days where I'm not wearing all my braces and I feel okay to go out. Depends on how much I'm out and what we're doing. You know, that next day I may pay for it. I may not go nowhere for the next 3 days after I went out that one day. But we all have good days and bad days, whether it's physically, mentally, right? Just like you could have a combination of bad days with mental health as well as you're in pain physically. So never think you can't live. Nobody's saying that you can't live. You should live your life. This is why you shouldn't embellish your disabilities. If you can still walk, because they know I can walk. I just went to a C&P exam. They saw me walking. Was I walking great? No. Do I have a screwed up gait? Yes. Do I have prosthetic devices that help me walk? Yes. Okay. But will I go out without my walker? Sure. I've gone out, went to the barbershop. We've gone to the mall. Right. But is it consistently every time I'm out, I'm like doing all this extra that I said I couldn't do? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You got to rest 3 days before, 3 days after you go out to any appointment. Yeah. But I'm just saying, man, just don't embellish, right? They know that some vets take it overboard. Just like they give you blood tests, they draw your blood, they want to make sure you're taking your meds. A lot of veterans don't. Just be honest about it. But I'm telling you all, when it comes to social media, this is where they're going to get a lot of people. A lot of people. And when they call you, let me back up a second. That first one. When they call you and they ask you specific questions, for example, he's in a wheelchair and they asked him, can you walk casually? Because they try to give you a way out. Can you get up and walk casually? Can you carry stuff? If he would have said, yes, I can get up, but I can only do it for short periods of time. I'm not trying to teach people how to lie. I'm just saying they give you the opportunity to get out of it. And now I can't do nothing. I'm in a wheelchair 24/7. And when they call you and ask you, they already got you. They already got you. It's just a matter of they're going to see if you're going to tell the truth. That's what it is. Because I record everything just like the VA does. And I let them know. I say, while you're recording this, I'm recording it on my side too. I got a file folder filled with calls to the Department of Veterans Affairs because I record everything. So there are no errors. Let's see. I seen the video of the man getting out of his car, filled up the gas in the wheelchair, video from the gas station. You know? Wow. And again, a lot of this, guys, is family members, neighbors calling the Inspector General's hotline with a video of a veteran doing something they claim they couldn't do. How did the family know? How did the family member know? How did the neighbor know? The veteran had to tell them. Somebody had to tell them. Right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't just do the right thing, man. If you're hurt, you hurt. If you're not, don't go to the VA and tell them something that's not true. You get caught in a lie, then what? You lose most of your benefits. You end up in prison. You got this huge fine to pay. Now what? It's not worth it. All right, let's go to the Washington Post. I'm going to pull up a couple more things here. So I'm sure I showed this one. Was it last night? And this is from his social media post. This man literally would go to the VA in a wheelchair and tell them he cannot move his arms or his legs. His wife was in on it as well. It wasn't just him. You know, they got a bunch of stories in here, man. It is wild. It is so wild, right? I showed that one last night. It's wild. I showed you what his sentence was and all that, right? But there's a lot more of them in here. A lot more. I want to play this so you guys can hear. And this is why they're going to change a lot of this. Okay. This is why. I need y'all to hear this, man. Y'all got to pay attention.
There's a high risk that people can either lie about their condition or exaggerate their condition. In some cases, you're relying on the veteran to be honest in terms of their condition. If somebody says, I have PTSD, I have flashes where it impacts me, I can't sleep, sort of the hidden disabilities, those are much harder to prove.
I'm depressed.
But again, you have to prove it's service related.
Right.
So that you have to have a doctor sign off and saying this condition was service related.
How vulnerable would you say the system is to manipulation?
The system is vulnerable to manipulation.
It does seem like this stuff is easy. You do have to take the veteran's word for it to some degree.
It's the physicians have to
determine,
and it's so subjective in terms of what percentage somebody could be. It's that kind of system, which then is open to having exaggerations.
We asked the IG's office for statistics on number of disability fraud cases, how many were referred to prosecution. And over 5 years, it was like, roughly 250 cases referred for prosecution.
I will say about prosecutions, we sometimes face the hurdle with U.S. attorneys' offices around the country because they would have a threshold, a minimum of a financial harm. So some of them would say, if it's not $1 million worth of fraud, we're not going to prosecute the case. But again, we wouldn't then just drop it. We would either refer it to VA or sometimes it would take care of itself.
And I mean, that is a pretty high hurdle in the sense that if they're essentially saying, only let us know if they rip off taxpayers to the tune of 7 figures, that leaves a lot of wiggle room for people. Is that a lack of deterrence? And does word get out that this is an easy program to scam?
I don't know how much it got out, but it wasn't a secret that there were some districts which had very high thresholds.
Okay, now that was for the person that left that comment that it's only got to be $1 million. You clearly didn't hear. That's only some districts. And as I showed yesterday, they're being charged. Some 50,000, some 200, some $500,000. So if you're relying on the VA to say, oh, well, it's not $1 million, we're not going to charge them yet. That's not true. That's only in some districts. It's like people hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear that they're wrong or what they interpret is wrong. They're always right. And then they'll go to each person that leaves a comment because OT left a comment. This person wrote a whole damn essay of nothing but excuses of, well, they don't do this, they don't do that, and they don't. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. You just didn't interpret it correctly. All right. So do you guys see what's going on, man? And the Washington Post is a very respected paper. Been around for a long time. This isn't some startup newspaper or some person just trying to get notoriety by doing this. No, the Washington Post is a well-known, established newspaper. Lots of credibility, a lot of credibility. And with that, there are going to be other stuff that's going to follow. I would not be surprised to see the BBC, The Guardian, of course, Fox News, NBC, Others are going to do stories on this, and I'm telling y'all where it's headed. You may not want to believe it, but I'm telling y'all where it's headed. All they need is about half of the public to turn on veterans. You're going to see a real big shift of how they handle cases. Let's go back. There's another video in here I want to share with you guys.
There's a high
Oh, and see, like here, oh, you got to be $1 million. No, 3 years probation, 106,000. Theft of government funds, degenerative arthritis, degenerative disc disease. People just basically lying. You guys saw that one. This is a funny one. I think they surveillance on this guy. Yeah. Okay. I'll give you guys a quick story on this. So this guy, he was really a criminal anyway. There was another agency already investigating this guy. And then they found out that he was a veteran who was supposedly blind. He was one of the ones that they found through the DMV in Florida, right? And he would post all kinds of stuff on social media. Now he's supposed to be blind, but he's out shooting deer. He had all types of ATVs and different stuff that he bought, right? Spending all kind of money. Again, reported that he's supposedly blind, that he can't drive, that he can't do nothing. He's one of the ones where they went and they set up surveillance cameras at his house and filmed all of this. You see that camera's up on a utility pole and it's facing his house. So they got every move that he made coming in and out of his house as he claimed he was totally blind. And as you can see, that wasn't true. But he had a lot of other stuff going on too. He had a couple different agencies checking on him. But there was one other one I wanted to get to show you guys. And it isn't just Florida. They check all over the country. Okay, this is another one that's this is a guy who claimed, oh my God, I can't remember the whole story, but I know he said he was blind and he couldn't see, and his wife was in on it with him. The video that you're seeing right there, that's an undercover agent that he's talking to, that he's asking him for directions. So not only is he walking, he's looking the man dead in the face and he's giving him directions on where he needs to go. So obviously they got him to confess. So this was his situation, blindness, right? 1 year detention, restitution, $43,000. And he had got paid more than $538,000. No, they're going to make him pay $538,000 in restitution. But there are all kinds of cases, guys, all kinds. A lot of this stuff, man, is just wow. It's crazy. Here's one. Leaving the VA in a wheelchair. Go across the street to the gas station, pump gas. I mean, they don't even get out of the VA's vicinity. It's wild. It's wild. This is the video I want to play for you guys.
The public image of a disabled veteran is someone who's been wounded in combat while serving their country. And I think the public really isn't aware of the extent to which the disability compensation program is being exploited and taken advantage of.
People who say they need the government to pay them for a disability that they don't really have.
He said that after serving his country in the military, he could no longer use his hands or his feet.
Collected hundreds of thousands of dollars until they were caught on hidden camera.
Video of him in the wheelchair. The Post started reporting on this story more than a year ago because we had noticed a clear trend, an explosion in the number of disability applications to the VA.
I think what the power of those are when they're together.
We wanted to find out, why is there this explosion in claims? Some of it obviously are the wars in the Middle East, but beyond that, what's driving it? We've gone through tens of thousands of pages of court documents, reports, investigations. We've talked to dozens of veterans, officials in the VA, current and former,
The system is vulnerable to manipulation.
people who were themselves investigated for disability fraud. The vast majority of disabilities that the VA is paying veterans compensation for are conditions that are not ones that in the public mind are associated with disabled vets. Things like jock itch, hair loss,
Hemorrhoids and shaving bumps, scars.
migraines. There's more than 900 ailments or conditions that the VA will pay disability for. Sleep apnea, erectile dysfunction. VA is not going to check whether they really have it. So it's an easy way to game the system. When VA does open a criminal investigation into suspicion of fraud, they really only do that in two scenarios. One is if they can prove in black and white that the person's lying. One of the patterns of cases we found were people claiming to be blind when they can see just fine. There was one guy who kept claiming he was blind, but posting photos and videos on social media showing himself out hunting and snorkeling. Veterans can claim to be wheelchair bound or housebound or infirm, they can't get around.
Do you still blind?
No.
But yet on video, the VA often finds that these people are out doing all sorts of normal activities that are completely incompatible with what they're claiming. These cases are really striking because you see with your own eyes the degree to which people are faking it, but it's only these extreme examples are the ones that get caught.
While so many veterans are encouraged to game the system, what we have is a very, very, very long backlog of pending claims and veterans who really, really do need this system to help them. The system, when it first started, was designed to compensate veterans for lost earning capacity. In the two great wars, we saw lots of soldiers who lost limbs, who came home and they were so broken and couldn't work. At that time, we were in an economy of manual labor. So it was very clear that many, many of these returning soldiers would not be able to work. What's happened is that we've obviously become a white-collar culture, and the law really hasn't changed at all. So we have hundreds of thousands of veterans who are 100% disabled who are working full-time jobs.
The VA is operating under old rating conditions and really hasn't kept up with modern medicine.
The veterans' point of view is, look, we risked our lives, we went and served, and even if we are able to work full-time, we still deserve for the government to help us.
Historically, a lot of veterans have been reluctant to ask for help. But what we found in the course of our reporting is the guardrails and the checks and balances have really evaporated.
We need a disability system. It has to serve veterans who have sacrificed so much to serve, but does it need to change so that it is more effective, so that it's serving the right ailments and the right people.
All right, guys. So hopefully you guys understand and see what I'm seeing. This is setting up to be something in 2026. And it's unfortunate because there are far more people out there that need help than people that are committing crimes. We all know this. In almost every situation, the majority has to suffer because of a few. That's the way it's always been. Always, in every situation. You punish everybody to make sure that the ones who are doing it don't get a free ride. Meanwhile, the people that really need the help got to wait forever to get it. This is why the backlog is the way it is. You have people filing frivolous claims they know they have no shot of getting, but they'll do it anyway. You can post a link to the Washington Post investigation report. Yeah, I'll post it again. I posted it last night, and I'll post it here real quick. There it is right here in the chat. So, and then any other posts or CFRs you guys are interested in knowing, because I'm going to start following up with the actual CFR codes. So these people out there that are in la la land, because I know we on medication. I know a lot of us on meds. I know a lot of us, you know, we interpret things a different way when you're on medication. But that's why I'm going to start giving the codes out for all these different situations so people can go read for themselves. Okay? Because it's too much. It is too much. All right? Now, there's one other thing I want to cover real quick before I get off. Been on a little more than half an hour. And that's what's going on here locally, right? Now, I'm sure, because what I heard about this was two weeks ago. Okay, I heard this from the local news that I was watching, because I'm really trying to start studying my Spanish and getting more serious with my Spanish, because I got a citizenship test coming up in the next 4 years. So I want to make sure my Spanish is on point, and I'm starting to practice that more by watching the news and reading the newspaper. But anyway, I was watching the news where this group, kind of like, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Sunday morning shows when they have like these round tables, and it might be on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. They have these round tables of these different news journalists and politicians and former politicians. And they'll talk about, you know, what's going on in the city, what changes are coming, and things that they know that may be happening. So I was watching that, and they were talking about how they're going to start treating certain tourists that come, and that they're only coming for certain activity. Now, there's a strong focus on people of this skin color because of what is posted on social media. Now, we're not the only ones. Before somebody jump in, oh, we ain't the only ones out there doing it. I did not say we were the only ones. I'm just telling you what I watched on the news. So on the news, they're seeing what's out on TikTok. They see what's on Instagram. They see what's on Facebook. They see what's on YouTube. They're not, you know, naive about any of that. So what is happening is when you have certain people on the plane, they're going to pull them off the plane. They're going to ask them to open up their phone. They're going to ask them to open up their luggage and anything else that they may have on them, because they're looking for anything that might be considered illegal. And when I say considered illegal, think about having your cell phone out. You open it up and you just happen to have some photos in your phone that don't make you look the greatest. And they may not be photos of a certain age, in which case they will immediately arrest you and take you to jail. This all started back 2 weeks ago. Now, there are some people who know about this now that is putting a warning out there, because I wasn't planning on saying nothing. You know, I wanted them to pick up as many of them as they could and throw them all straight in jail. But since the cat's out of the bag, and some people are starting to run their mouth like they normally do and warn these people about what's coming here is going to look like. And it's not just here in Medellin, Bogota, Cartagena, San Andreas, Cali, Barranquilla, pretty much all the places that you see a lot of us congregate, that's what's going to be happening. And if you haven't heard about it already, you will. They're also doing it in the States. You're coming from certain countries like Thailand, Philippines, Panama, Mexico, DR, here in Colombia, Brazil, Ecuador. They're going to do the same thing. Now, it's not every single person that comes through. There's a select group that they pick for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is why they picked certain people. Maybe they had them under surveillance. Maybe because like here, it is not illegal for people to capture whatever you're talking about on WhatsApp. See, a lot of these people love to scream about privacy and this and that. This ain't America. They have their own rules, and laws in this country. This is not America. So when they catch up on your WhatsApp and they see what you're talking about, what you're doing, and it's really to go after certain people who love to mess with the little ones, right? But if they can catch some of these other ones and throw them out, they're going to do that as well. I just saw an article where they're doing training this upcoming week in the tourist areas with the Airbnbs to catch even more people. You know, there's a presidential election coming up here next year in June. And the laws here says that a current president can't run consecutive time. So Petro can't even run again, even if he wanted to. The law doesn't allow it. So there will be a new president. Now, the following 4 years, he could run again, but this year he can't. So there's going to be a new president. And they're starting to line up. These parties are starting to pick who they want to be the next president. I'm paying close attention because there are 3 women that are running. 2 are very popular women, very popular. And I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. And I'm paying attention to all the different platforms that they have that are coming out. So I can't vote, obviously. I'm not a citizen yet. I'm a resident, so I don't have the right to vote. But I'm going to pay attention because a lot of the stuff that some of these people are talking about, it does affect me, especially when it comes to taxes. Colombia has a huge deficit. They're not bringing in enough tax revenue. They got to find other ways to raise revenue. One of the ways that they can raise revenue is through people like me that live here who are expats and people who come through that airport as visitors. So they're going to try to come up with creative ways to make up that deficit that they have here because they've already been downgraded by Moody's. And if you don't know what Moody's is basically the credit rating for these different countries. You don't want to be your credit score, just like an individual credit score. You don't want it to be bad because your interest rates are much higher. Countries and creditors are less likely to lend to you. So they're trying to fix that. And if it has signs where it's turning into Argentina, I will be out of here because it's going to be anarchy here. If it gets as bad as it is in Argentina it's going to be bad. I don't think they're going to get to the level of Venezuela, but there are indicators, and they've been getting warnings from people like JP Morgan Chase and some of these other U.S. banks warning Colombia about their fiscal responsibilities that are happening here. So with all that being said, there are visible signs here of financial problems if people are paying attention, which, as I said, low information, low education, low income. Those people don't pay attention to nothing. What's going on, Watt? How you doing tonight? All right, so that's about all I got for you guys tonight, man. Any other questions you all have, any other CFRs you may have, or questions you may have, and you want to see the actual rule about that question, we can go over it, whatever it is, okay? I don't know everything, never claimed to know everything, but we can put it out there, and there may be someone in the chat who has gone through a situation that they may be able to explain what they had to go through in order to get whatever done, okay? But, I mean, there's no easy way to say any of this, man. While the government is shut down, everything is getting pushed back. It really is. But you guys will know for sure if there's another major newspaper besides the Washington Post that starts talking about veterans fraud or other veterans related stories to kind of get the public to start looking at this going, you know, I see some of those guys out running around doing nothing and buying cars and doing this and that. The last thing you want is the public to turn on you. That's the last thing you want, the general public to turn and not have faith. That's going to put pressure on the politicians to do something. And the last thing we need is to make VA disability even harder for the people who are coming up behind us. That's the last thing we need, is to make everything harder for everybody else. And for those of you who are not familiar with Project 2025, I know it was used as a political football. I know it was talked about in a negative light, but there was a reason why. So I would just tell veterans out there who are watching this video and you've gotten this far, go take a look at what Project 2025 is and then compare it to what's going on today. Because it's damn near the exact playbook straight down the line. It damn near is. And when it comes to veterans benefits, if you read Project 2025, it's basically saying deny, don't let them get past 30%. That's why I said previously, 100% ratings are going to be a rarity in the future. There are not going to be many veterans that are beyond 30%. Not many. A lot of the disabilities, like they were talking about, ED, eczema, just little benign things like scars. You're getting rated for a scar. You're getting rated for shaving bumps, up to 60% for that. A lot of those ratings are going to go away. Because the general public, again, when they made those rules, when they made all that, that was for a time way back when, and they've never updated it. It's never been updated. This administration is going to update it. And a lot of those things that some of you guys are going to get grandfathered on, the people who are going to come up behind you will never know they even existed. They'll never know. Okay? But that's it for now, guys. Hey, I appreciate everybody watching this late night live stream. Tomorrow, hopefully I can get my medication situation squared away where I don't have to have these loopy situations where I'm not sure and I got double vision still. But hopefully I can get that squared away tomorrow when I do get up. But other than that, that's going to be it, guys. I appreciate everybody watching as always. And until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, I am out of here. Peace. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.